6 months ago, the Port Authority called us and was interested in wind. And a lot of folks are interested in wind from a utility scale standpoint, wind farming. And that's not what we do, and that really wasn't the best thing that we felt for what we were called for. And the biggest issue was financing. A turbine like this, as you can see, it's a large construction project, costs several $1,000,000. And most people in Conneaut did not have several $1,000,000 sitting in their back pocket. And so with our partners, Next Gen Energy Partners out of Colorado, they do the financing in a thing called a third-party arrangement, whereas the school and the city does not own this turbine. Next Gen owns the turbine. We operate and maintain it for them, and then the end user just agrees to buy the power from the turbine. So essentially it doesn't cost the end user any money, and they get a savings on their electric bill because they know now what the power costs from this turbine. I could ask everybody, what do you think you'll pay from your energy company in 10 years for your power? You might be paying 10 or 11 cents now. I'm sure it'll be higher. Well, we can tell you the power from this turbine in 10 years will be 12 cents a kilowatt hour. That's not a deal the utility can make with you at this point in time.
What happens, I know the schools are going to have one, as I said, and the city will have one. How do they go about buying the electricity from NextGen? How do they circumvent the regular electric supplier?
Okay, we don't circumvent this. We are going to connect directly to the school and the water treatment's electric metered service from, in this case, the CEI, the illuminating company. And every kilowatt hour this turbine generates, you do not buy from the electric company. And if it was on Christmas Day, let's say it was a real windy night and the school wasn't consuming any power, actually the power flows back out to the utility. But at the end of the month, you read the meter, the net that's left on the meter. So that's what the school or the water treatment will pay CEI, and then what they didn't buy from CEI, they bought from the turbine at a price less than they would have paid CEI.
Well, I know the schools will be saving some money, and can you tell us a little bit about how much it's costing the school and the city to put up these two turbines?
Well, actually, it's zero, but you do pay an upfront fee. It's like an earnest deposit of $9,500, and that just gets us kicked off to do engineering, get the zoning permits, and things like that. But in year 5, that money comes back to you in energy credits. So essentially, you get a $2 million project for a $9,500 earnest deposit that comes back to you in year 5.
And I'm sure before we leave, we're going to get some footage of the whole project out here. There are 3 of these towers sitting on the ground, and you said there was another one yet to come.
Yeah, these are called the sections. We're standing in the base section. I don't know, the door, how you get in here when it's standing straight up is right above us. And then we'd climb up the ladder to get it to the top. There's 3 sections here. This section, we call it the midsection, is the second one. And the top section, which sets the generator, where you'll see the blades and the housing on top, is called a nacelle. And there's just a little, I'll call it a coupling piece that goes on the top section and couples the nacelle to the rest of the tower.
And will you finish up here before you move down to the water treatment plant?
Well, actually, we're going to be doing both projects at the same time now. We're taking our excavation equipment down to the water treatment plant, and we'll be doing what we just did here for the last week, and then we'll be finishing off our foundation, stacking these towers, and then when we're finished doing this work, then all our foundation work at the water treatment plant will be done, and then we'll stack the towers down there.
Now, this one's going to generate more power than the one down at the lakefront. Can you explain that?
Yes, this is what's called a 600 kW turbine, and the one at this water treatment plant, wastewater treatment plant, will be a 400 kW turbine, because the school actually consumes a little bit more power than the water treatment plant does. And as we talked about before, we don't want to generate more than the facility can consume. Because we talked about our pricing mechanism, you might be paying 10 or 12 cents a kilowatt hour from your utility, but power that goes back out, they'll only pay you 6 or 7 cents for that. So we don't really want to go there. That's not worth as much as the retail power.
And when this goes up, this will be visible from I-90, so Conneaut will have a new landmark for the people going by on I-90.
That's correct. I was impressed when I came into town this morning. Our cranes were unloading things, and you could see the tip of the crane. That crane is it was below 100 feet, and this tower will be over 200 feet. So that would be quite a landmark when you have people driving by on Interstate 90.
Somebody mentioned that maybe the school should put its logo atop the turbine. Do people really do that? Is that ever done?
I haven't seen that done actually. On the nacelle, the housing, we do put logos, the company's names and things like that. But on water towers, you put the name of the city or whatever. So perhaps on the very top section, if you want to put a Conneaut Spartan on there. That's not my call, but I thought it might be a neat thing to do.
And I've got another question. How many projects such as this is your company doing right now?
Right now, this is under construction. The wastewater treatment plant is under construction. We're working in Sandusky in the early phases. We talked about that earnest deposit and doing the phases, and we are just starting that and going to zoning with that. We have Ada school system. We just started that project, and Ohio Northern University. And there will be 3 turbines at Ohio Northern University and 1 at Ada school systems.
Is the business growing a lot? Are you getting busier as wind power catches on, and it's such an economical way to start it?
Yes, I think the last 6 months to a year, this relationship that NextGen and EPS has formed is a great way to do this. As I mentioned earlier, most of us don't have $1 million or $2 million sitting in our back pocket just to build a turbine to save a couple $100,000 a year. So with this model that we've put together, many more public entities such as schools, wastewater treatment plants have come to us, and we're working on. And we'd like to, within the end of 2 more years, have the equivalent of the largest wind farm in the state of Ohio. Right now, Bowling Green has a 7-megawatt wind farm, and some of the other ones you hear about are 10, 20 megawatts. But we should have enough turbines like this that will be bigger as an aggregate than the largest wind farm.
Is it exciting? It's exciting for me to drive up here and see all this. I guess it's because it's a brand new experience. Is it still exciting to you to see these things go up?
I'm amazed every time I see these things, that's right. And excitement, and it's also stressful because when all this stuff is being unloaded, we got all the guys, it's like a well-oiled machine though. This thing's going over here and that's going over there, and it's got to work. If it doesn't work, like I said, we have a 200-foot tower there that people are going to say, well, why isn't that thing running today? That's a lot of pressure on us, so we like to make sure that we do the job correct.
And how soon do you think that electricity will be produced from these turbines? I know you say they're going to go up, but the electricity won't be there quite yet.
It'll be in January. I think by the end of January, if not by the end of February, they'll be working as should be fully commissioned. But we should have them turning and producing power early in January. But this turbine that we're standing in, it will be operable by the end of the year. It might not be fully commissioned and running every day, but it will be operable.
Thank you so much.